could the devil be appearing to be a man today? There's something to that. I mean, I think that when you see movies like The Devil's Advocate, you see the show Lucifer, you see The Rings of Power where Sauron is appearing to be a man. All these things, like they show that stuff so often. And in Hebrews, it does say, be careful how you treat strangers because you could be entertaining angels unawares. Hey, what's going on, y'all? Welcome back to JT's Mixtape. This is episode number 90. If you guys are enjoying these podcasts, please give me a 5-star review on either Apple or Spotify. And if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you.
Come closer, my child.
Well, family, once again, I'm your host, JT, and the whole crew is with me today. First off, we got the demon eraser, Brian. What's going on, Brian?
What's up? What's up?
And we also have Aaron, Tune Thy Heart. What's going on, Aaron?
What's up?
So there's a few things that were going on, and I wanted to talk a little bit about this. I think we should just address this. This stuff has been kind of a maybe an elephant in the room for a while. And so I just did a podcast with Sam Tripoli, and it was fun. As always is going on tinfoil hat. Sam's pretty funny. He's got a lot of interesting stuff to say. But he was bringing up the fact that Tyler, the fittest flat earther, has been calling him Sir Francis Bacon. And not only that, he also saying Moon Henry is Captain Jack Sparrow. I had no idea that I know Johnny Depp. Am I the last to know?
I was very shocked to find out that we knew Johnny Depp too. When I saw it, it blew me away. And also, I was also shocked to find out that Richard Simmons was actually Tyler. I didn't even know that, bro. Richard Simmons is actually Tyler. So it's crazy. And then Tyler was like, no, I'm not Richard Simmons. Pauly Shore is Richard Simmons. But we know Tyler is actually Richard Simmons. That's what's been going on.
Is this like a situation? It is like if you made your bed, now you have to lie in it. Like if you're going to call everybody somebody else, is it fair to eventually be called Timothy McVeigh? Was he Justin Verlander? Richard Simmons is one that I would not have expected, but I guess if angels can shapeshift, then why not?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I don't even get it. I don't get the whole conspiracy that everybody's somebody else. And on Sam's podcast, we were kind of comparing it to the idea that you have a lot of people, you have a sect of the conspiracy community that's always talking about everybody being inverted. And so from some person's perspective, every person you see, like almost anywhere, I guess, I don't even know how far it goes. Whatever gender they appear to be, they're actually the opposite. Like all the time. Couples with kids, everything is upside down. I don't know, from the way I see it is that when you have somebody saying it's all of them all the time, then it detracts from the actual real people who are actually inverted. You know what I'm saying? Because from a normal person's perspective, and I guess we talked a little bit about this last week about kind of the idea that the conspiracies have gotten so dumb, and it's like it seems intentional that it's all the space is being flooded with all this misinformation. So when a real conspiracy comes around and it's presented in a thoughtful, well-explained way, it still gets bunched up in the camp of this is nonsense that I've already heard. And so that's the interesting thing. So a lot of things that Tyler's talked about is that some of these celebrities could actually be fallen angels. Well, we've actually floated that idea. Like we actually believe that could be a real thing. I mean, we did a whole
I agree
series
with that.
about a year and a half ago, probably at least a year ago. We were talking about, I probably had 3 JT's mixtape in a row where we were talking about, could the devil be appearing to be a man today? And I said, yeah, I think that there's something to that. I mean, I think that when you see movies like The Devil's Advocate, you see the show Lucifer, you see The Rings of Power where Sauron is appearing to be a man. all these things, like, they show that stuff so often, and in Hebrews, it does say, "Be careful how you treat strangers, because you could be entertaining angels unawares." I mean, so, like, there's a biblical basis for this idea, and it's, like, a real thing, but, like, when you say it's 100% of them, even people, like, we literally know, like, we know them. I mean, I don't know how well we know them, but we know these people. I mean, I'm gonna go out on the limb and say, no, there's no chance that Moon Henry is playing Captain Jack Sparrow. I mean, that's crazy.
So wait, I thought Moon Henry created the theory that he was Johnny Depp just to troll him.
No, no, no.
No, he actually, what's his name, actually said that he's Johnny Depp.
Yeah, he did.
Tyler actually said he was. Oh my gosh, that's even funnier. It's like, dude, bro, it's so funny that like he's like, I feel bad. Okay, listen. Tyler's demon possessed, and I feel really bad for Tyler, honestly. Like, he's clearly got demons that are influencing his perspective of reality in his mind, that he's like seeing all these things. But yes, calling every person a secret other person is ridiculous. And the transgender thing, a lot of that is also ridiculous. I will tell you right now that not every actor is switched, but there are, that it's actually a practice done by the elites. So like the kings and queens were switched. A lot of those, and you can look this up in history. There was a lot of situations where the queen was actually a dude, and there's like things related to it. And it was like, this was a practice done to people at the elite level where they did this kind of inversion, perversion thing to their children. So there was like, this was kind of done in royal lines, royal lineages.
Isn't there like a Polynesian people where
Mm-hmm.
they actually do that, where they raise the the boys to be?
The Fafafini, I was talking about it. Yeah. Yeah, I was literally talking about it on my podcast last week.
Yeah, no, yeah, I saw a video about that, and I said that is insane. But I mean, yeah, like, that's something that actually happened, and that's exactly what I'm saying, is that it is a real phenomenon. But when you say it's everybody, well, then, like I said, I think that it confuses normal people who would actually be more open to the idea. Like, if you, it's kind of like, I compare it to when we discuss like certain conspiracies. Let's just talk about September 11th. Okay, so certain people want to get way into the weeds. Like, imagine you're talking to a person who's really not on that wavelength with you. You don't go with like the kind of heat it takes to melt steel beams right away. You might just say, "Hey, what about this building 7? It's kind of weird, right? It's kind of weird how this other building that did not get hit by a plane just collapsed into its footprint." You know what I'm saying? So like, you lead with like your strongest argument first, and then if they are open to it, then you can maybe talk about more stuff. But then if you go immediately to saying that, "Hey, this podcast you like, he's actually Captain Jack Sparrow," like, then people are going to shut off. When you do present the idea, "Hey, you know what? What if there is this evil force that can manifest physically as a man, could be pulling the strings?"
It's really easy to get in the camp where you start seeing this everywhere and you don't know who to trust and you don't know what's real, you don't know what's not real. And I would say, like, for the most part, there are a ton of people in the conspiracy community, and I even like got pulled into this for a little while with the way that I saw things, where I trusted literally no one, nobody at all. Because I'm like, how are we supposed to know what's true and what's not true? How do we know who's, you're looking at hand signs, you're looking at stuff people wear, you're looking at stuff people talk about. It's a very, that's a very real place that a lot of people get. And you've got people in your own community that watch your stuff that think this same way, right? And I know,
For sure.
and they think it's literally everyone. And I used to think this way too, not necessarily about like the same thing with like specifically with actors and stuff like that, but in terms of like not knowing who to trust and not knowing how it all works. Because when we start to see the darkness in the world and how evil it all is, it's like, oh my gosh, like we are literally surrounded by these people. Surrounded. Like, who can we trust? Like, where are the gatekeepers? Like, they're all along the watchtower everywhere you look, and they're keeping their eyes on us, and they're aware of us long before we're aware of them. And it's a terrifying feeling at first. And the Holy Spirit had to like really bring me out of that. And because it was affecting the way that I lived, and it was affecting the way that I saw everything. And I think you know my stance on this to a certain extent, JT, and I don't know. We're actually going to be talking on the Afterglow. One of the scriptures going to be mentioned is Matthew chapter 7. And I think any content creator has to really, really, really remember at some point in time, like, judge not lest ye be judged. That we really got to keep that mindset no matter what in any kind of content we make. And
Yeah.
and
sure.
I'm just gonna say I'm still holding out faith for Tyler. I am. I still pray for him, and I had some really beautiful conversations with him where I got to see a side of him that other people maybe haven't seen, and I I'm just saying, like, I'm not trying to be in opposition, and I'm not trying to, like, create conflict or anything like that, or, like, I'm just giving my own personal opinion. I still pray for him. I still have faith for him, and I saw some really beautiful parts of his heart, and I think he's just still figuring it all out.
He was as beautiful as Richard Simmons.
right.
I'm not talking about looks. I would never call another man beautiful.
Art too. No, and I am the same way because I spoke with Tyler on the phone many times before, like, and when
He's
he
got
was
a good
still
heart.
kind of coming up, and I was sort of encouraging him to not always just trust what you think something looks like, therefore it is this thing. And that's kind of what he does. Is like, this person looks like this person, therefore it is this person. This mountain looks like a giant dinosaur or dragon, so therefore it is one. It that's literally what he does. The earth looks flat, so therefore it is flat. No, I agree with him about certain things, and that's the sad part, is that I've agreed with him in a lot of cases. Now, this is like a bridge too far from me, but I mean, it's a situation where when you do what we do, I mean, I've understand that, like, there's a surface level understanding of everything we do, right? And then there's something deeper under there. Like, see, obviously, when you read the scriptures, you can tell there's so much nuance and there's so much more there than appears at the surface level all the time. And so through that, I've recognized from my own blind spots of just saying, well, this looks like this, so therefore it is. Kind of, we talk about, like, the symbols, where I said that I've come around where I say the symbol of the pentagram is not always what it represents. Like, what it represents today is not necessarily what it's always meant. And the same thing, you could talk about the swastika, where you'd say, well, this is a symbol of this clearly. And then they could show you all the evidence. Like, but yeah, it's older and it goes back further and there's more layers to this. There's a lot more nuance to the things that we're talking about. So that's why I encourage anybody who's watching this podcast and enjoying the stuff that we talk about, read. Like, it's important to read some books and read some older books and read different books, read different perspectives, and not always assume that everybody is evil because you disagree with them. Because the thing is, there is not one person on this whole earth that I agree with 100% of the time. So
Yeah, that's a fact. I feel the same way.
So I don't expect anybody to agree with me 100% of the time either. But I just hope that we have enough goodwill in the community to say, hey, you might disagree with me, but it's not because one of us is a good person and one of us is a bad person. It's because we have different opinions. We have different interpretations. And I think that's the only way that this is going to work. We're in, like, what Paul talks about. We're like in a dark room. We're seeing in a dimly lit room, and we're trying to figure out what's happening. And it's difficult, and it's nearly impossible, and it's definitely not possible without grace for other people.
You're absolutely right, JT. And for the record, like, I've never agreed with anything Tyler has said. So nothing, absolutely nothing. I think he is completely off on everything that he says. Let's just be clear. And I'm not friends with Tyler. So the very fact that he talks about me and says things about me when he's never had a conversation with me is even more credence to the fact that he's a liar and a deceiver, and he's completely wrong and false. Because, bro, how are you going to talk trash about me when you don't even know me? Never even spoken to me. Like, bro, bro, talk to me, have a conversation with me. Don't call me something when you don't even know. Like, you make assumptions. I'm going to call out the work that you have and the things that you've done. But you're just saying that I'm a Freemason because I made a video. Like, what are you talking about, dude? Nonsense. Anyway, secondarily, I think all these people are just people. And I have a little bit of opposing view, I guess, to what you have. And I think this is actually good, because the fact that me and JT and everybody, like Aaron, we all don't agree. Like, and I know that's the reason why a lot of people watch the podcast, is literally because me and JT's never really fully agreed about everything. But
Well,
that's
one of the reasons the people in the comment sections would
Yeah.
always give Brian crap, and one of the main reasons I want to have Brian on the show is because this is not supposed to be an echo chamber. Like
No,
we
exactly. Yeah,
want healthy disagreement. We want polite disagreement.
yeah.
And even sometimes the heat does rise a little bit even in this podcast and podcast Brian have I done. But that's supposed to be okay because most of the time we're not talking about like fundamental things. We're talking about wild theories about things. What's going on, y'all? This podcast is brought to you by Modern Roots Life. Modern Roots Life is a Christian-owned and operated company, and it's bringing real health back to its roots. They offer powerful, all-natural health supplements such as beef liver, cod liver oil, beef tallow, magnesium, and mineral-rich salts, all sourced the way God intended. Clean, simple, and from the earth. So whether you're looking to boost your energy, restore mineral balance, or just fuel your family with real nourishment, Modern Roots Life has got you covered. Guys, in this community, we're trying to get healthy in our mind, in our body, and our spirit. So don't neglect your health. If you want more information, check out modernrootslife.com and check the link in my description. You know, people often ask me how they can support me. Well, I think it's pretty cool if you can support me by supporting the people who support me, and you get something in return. And being healthy is a pretty good return.
The fact that we disagree, JT, is iron sharpening iron. It does not mean iron sharpen iron does not mean two people that agree on the same thing. That don't sharpen nothing. It's when I go, JT, I disagree with you, and you go, Brian, I disagree with that, and then we start seeing each other's points of view, which is fun. And it's like, yeah, sparks fly, and it's entertaining because it's like, okay, maybe I was wrong about some of this stuff, and we look into it, and then we start seeing things that it's like, okay, all right, I can see this point of view, like, and it grows us as people. So, like, but for me, I think anybody that's pushing an agenda of hate these people and cut these people off, you're pushing Satan's agenda. So like even the celebrities saying that like, oh, they're guy girls and we should never blah blah blah, bro, I do not care. I'll talk to any celebrity. I'll talk to any of them. I don't care what you are. I know you're all part of the synagogue of Satan, but so are half the people that are living at home doing nothing, bro. You're not helping.
We don't know all of them are.
We don't know. You're right. We don't know all of them. I assume that you're probably a part of it, but it doesn't, just because you're a part of the situation doesn't mean that the people living at home aren't either. Like, bro, if you're spreading division, you're just as bad as some of the people that are on television spreading division, you know? And it's like, people think that they can't possibly be the bad guys doing these things. But the reality is, bro, if you are working for the devil, it don't matter where your position is. It doesn't matter whether it's in front of a camera. It doesn't matter if it's in front of your family. Like, if you're working for the devil, you're working for the devil regardless, you know? And so like, I look at everybody as individuals, and I don't care if they're celebrity or whatever. I look at them as people that have been led to a perspective of deception. I don't think suspicious of anyone. I'm not suspicious of people. Like, I just assume you're probably ruled by the devil, and that's okay. So is everybody else. Like, that's just an assumption.
That is the heck of a statement.
But no, I'm not saying like
I'm not suspicious of people. I just automatically assume you're working for the devil.
Well, yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, I'm not saying like I'm saying that you are. I just assume that it's probably the case. And then when it's not, I'm like, dude, this is awesome. You're awesome. Great. You know? And so I go in with low expectations, right? But and I hope for the best.
Trust,
and so like, I
trust
don't,
but verify.
Yeah, exactly. So it's not like I'm going in expecting this person to be like a godly dude. If I met a pastor, more than likely, if you're a big mega pastor, I'm thinking you're working for the devil in a lot of ways, like by default. And I'm like, bro, you're a mega pastor that's done a bunch of stuff, but I'm not going to assume that you are. When I meet you, I'm going to have this perspective that like, maybe he doesn't understand that he's working for the devil.
Right.
Maybe
yeah,
he doesn't.
Maybe this person is just wrong.
Maybe the person's just wrong. Exactly.
I think that the best example I would say, because I like to bring it back to movies all the time, is The Matrix. So in The Matrix, you have agents, right? But then you have all the normal people who are plugged into the Matrix. But the agents can move about the Matrix unlike normal people. So anybody who's still plugged in can ultimately become an asset.
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
The
yeah.
enemy.
Exactly.
And I think that's how more likely that it works. Like most people are just going along.
They don't even know.
They're clueless.
They don't even know.
And that's
they don't even know
allows them, the enemy, to gain access to them, and so they don't even know that they're being used for the forces of darkness because they're just completely unaware of everything. And I want to say this last thing about this, and maybe we can kind of move on to I got an interesting video about the celebrities and the connections with these elites and demons. But the funny part about it was before I ever met Tyler, and like my first year that I was like fully on TikTok, this lady made a video about me saying that I was Isaac Cappy. And like I still like if I did a TikTok live today, there's very likely somebody who's going to call me Cappy. Like it doesn't happen very much anymore, but it used to happen all the time. And when I first heard that, my I sent it to my brother because somebody sent it to me, and we just laughed so hard. We just thought it was the funniest thing I'd ever heard of. Is that somebody is saying that I'm a guy who supposedly is dead, and this is him playing a different role. And I thought that is the wildest thing I've ever heard. And I said it was so funny to me because I was like, I felt like I joked because I said I made it seem like that when you get to a certain level and you talk about conspiracies, you haven't made it to the next level until you become a conspiracy in yourself. And that was like when I said I'd finally made it, that I was known enough to be called somebody else. And now it's like this stuff is everywhere. And like I said, it is like the Spider-Man meme where it's like so and so pointing at somebody else saying, "You're the Fed, you're the fallen angels, you're in the secret societies." When like,
Dude, everybody thinks everybody's like that, but that's the devil's plan. We just gotta just gotta love people. We can't.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Is
you can never judge people. You can't judge. You can't judge. You can just assume like, okay, maybe they're misunderstood, maybe they're wrong. But when you judge them, that's what it is. Judgment. It's when you pass judgment.
It makes perfect sense that if in this community, would you call them truthers or conspiracy theorists, there's a lot of truth being revealed. So the enemy, not being a complete idiot, is saying, I'm going to pit them against each other because now they're not going to be looking at what I'm actually doing.
And that's what Tyler does exactly.
But and also to be fair, he did align himself with some people early on that like did stab him in the back and did hurt him and betray his trust. So like,
so now that he does it to everybody.
So now he stabs.
Listen,
so he stabs
I can't
everyone
speak.
else.
Well, it is like it's a situation where like like the abuse
he was
becomes
hurt by people.
Becomes the abuser, right?
Yep.
Like that's what's happened.
Well, he's got demons, bro. He's literally got demons following him around of suspicion. Like that ain't gonna help him at all.
Have you considered? And we should continue. We should all be praying for him.
I told Henry Moon that I will pray for him. Tell him I'll pray for him and we can talk. But he's obviously like.
Have you considered, JT? Have you considered having him on, just you and him, or even like privately talking to him? Well, let me finish. From the perspective of like, let's bury the hatchet and let's sort this out. Like, let's talk this through. Like, not I want to dismantle every one of his ideas. I want to, you know what I'm saying? Because like,
well, no, I mean, I think that the main reason I never had him on in the first place because I don't agree with him. I mean, I think the main reason I have people on my podcast is that either we do have alignment and we can kind of vibe off each other and talk about the things we both know about, or I'd have somebody on who's more of an expert in something else that I'm curious about, and I can pick this person's brain about that. Honestly, none of the content that he's ever made has made me like want to ask him a single question about anything that he's researched, because again, it's like, it's all surface levels. Like this looks like this. And then, so when he came out of his way to say that, tell people on his podcast and talk about Brian and myself, to say that we're literally, he's talking about my character. He's saying things that about us that are not true. And like, I know that he knows they're not true, but he's still saying them. So like the real question is like, why is he saying that? And then he blocks me and then he DMs me horrible things. And like, so what am I going to, what I'm saying? Like, if there was a time to talk about this, it'd be like, he's blocked my phone number. He's blocked me on every app. It's like, so I don't know. I mean, so, well, if you hear this, Tyler, if you're watching this, I'm sure you are.
I'm sure he is.
You guys, you can reach out to me. You can unblock my number and then you can reach out to me if you want to actually have a conversation about this. But I mean, until then, like I said, you can disagree with about anything that I say and it's fine. But if you're saying it's because I'm evil, then I mean, like I said, I don't know, like if there's not much dialogue when you shut the door, like this is this. And it's like, to me, it seems like he's already shut that door. It's not like it couldn't be open, but it would probably have to be opened by him. Let's switch gears. I want to talk about a little bit about the connection with the demonic in Hollywood? Because I thought this was an interesting perspective, and I think you guys would. I'm curious to see what you guys think about this.
I have a theory about celebrities and demons because I used to be a celebrity hypnotist and manifestation expert who's worked with movie stars, pro athletes, fashion designers, even politicians, your favorite social media influencers. And I gave it all up to follow Jesus because God told me to. That includes over 1 million followers I used to have and my entire business. Now we're here following the Lord, and here's what I've discovered. From working with celebrities, I've come to learn that they are some of the most tormented people I have ever met. Now, not every celebrity has a demon or has demons, but when I've worked with them, in hindsight, I've realized that they are dealing with significant spiritual warfare, and they would often manifest demonically in our sessions. Now, I didn't know this at the time, but what was happening is in our sessions, these demons would manifest through them, and there was nothing we could do to resolve their issues because I was trying to address something subconsciously that was actually spiritual. Now, here's my theory. My theory is that being a celebrity does not cause you to have more demons, but having demons will often cause you to be a celebrity or to pursue the fame, power, and money that comes with being a celebrity because they are trying to fill a God-sized hole with a worldly solution, and these demons are influencing their thoughts and their motives in order to do so. Because if you have all the fame, all the power, all the money, it makes you think that you don't need God. But then here you are years or decades down the road, and you actually feel worse than the person living paycheck to paycheck, or even the homeless person on the corner, because that person might have the Lord, they might have God in their life. And so these people are pursuing all these things, and they don't realize it's not their fault. It's not actually them pursuing it. It's these demons influencing them to do so. So if you're a celebrity who feels tormented, who knows that there's more to life than the money, the fame, and the power, I want to help you. Jesus will set you free. You need deliverance. DM me. I don't charge. I'll never mention your name. It stays between you, me, and the Lord. But send me a DM because I want to help, and you have a purpose for the kingdom. You can still pursue your craft. You can still pursue excellence, and that can be your testimony, but it'll also help lead people to the Lord when you're living in alignment with God's will for your life.
I mean, I think the sentiment is beautiful, and I mostly agree with what he said. I think Brian would agree deliverance on somebody that hasn't fully accepted Jesus and invited the Holy Spirit in is a dangerous game to play. So I hope there's a plan for discipling these people and walking them to the throne. But there's also another layer to this demonically that he didn't address. It's not just that they're chasing to fill a God-sized hole. These demons that overtake these people, they are like generals and majors in an army, in a literal demonic army, and they have assignments. And they're not just trying to fill this God-sized hole. They're trying to go out and deceive people. They're trying to go out, and that's why they all want to be in some of these roles, to be a big mouthpiece so that they can actually take souls. It's a soul harvest. And so, like, that's their overarching mission. Like, they literally have marching orders when they take these people over. Now, I would say that there probably are some low-level demons that are like ants and gnats and flies and, you know what I mean? But I think, like, the bigger ones, the ones that take a hold of some of these celebrities, I think that they've been given mission directives. And I think that their overarching goal is to take control of these people and influence them in such a way that they influence the general public, and they're deceiving souls for the kingdom of darkness. That's what I believe.
Well, first off, Anthony's going to come on my podcast actually next week, so I'm going to bring him on.
Awesome. That's
yeah,
cool.
Yeah. So, interestingly enough, but the thing is, there's some stuff that I would say that I've experienced and learned from dealing with similar individuals and stuff like this, that I've noticed. There's a pattern, and some of his theory is pretty spot on, but I would say there's two different kinds of celebrities that I've noticed that get into the spotlight. There's ones that are blessed by the Lord that get lifted up, and they actually get put into the spotlight, and then the enemy comes after them and tries to take them down. And then there's those that made sacrifices to be put into the spotlight. And so I've seen both scenarios of these individuals. I've talked to people in both situations where it's like, God can bless you, and you can get into the spot, and then the enemy comes after you. And for instance, like people like, God will bless a certain individual like Justin Bieber, right? And for whatever reason, the Lord blessed Justin Bieber right in the gate. He was an innocent child brought into this. And then the enemy said, hey, innocent little child, let's destroy you. And then it's like whatever situation the Lord had blessed on his life, and then the enemy came in and tried to grab that innocence and rip it down. And so the enemy loves to bring those people that just naturally they blow up through their good-hearted nature and then grab them. The other way is people like Lady Gaga, who Lady Gaga was a nobody. She was always a nobody, and then she became a somebody after she potentially murdered a friend of hers and took on her persona. Okay. And then
we showed a video about that. There was a very
similar
suspicious
girl.
death that was connected with somebody, and Lady Gaga was like her understudy. And
Yeah.
this lady fell off a building, and she had all the
Mhm.
theatrics of the costumes and the whole vibe. And
Lady Gaga took on that persona after her friend died.
That girl's mom does blame. I think she blames her.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure that's what the video said back in the day.
But it's like so her Lady Gaga's rise isn't just a normal person being blessed by the Lord that just threw into the spotlight and is now battling this. Lady Gaga has embodied an entity and knew the agreement was sacrifice of whatever it was. We don't know what she did. We have no clue, but it seems a little fishy, and there's probably things that she sacrificed that you don't know about at all. And she was working with Marina Abramovich. Abramovich said that she was her disciple, her pupil. She's called her like one of her most prized. And we know Abramovich is working with all kinds of witchcraft and wicked, evil stuff. So you see there's these two kind of polarizing celebrity viewed individuals. You got the ones that are there through the occult, and you got the ones that are just there through the Lord and whatever circumstance of the environment. And either way, the occult comes at both of them. One of them, they come to fully possess them. Like Lady Gaga is probably not Lady Gaga half the time. And Justin Bieber is battling with these things that he's now participated in after he gained into those positions. And the occult started to say, hey, join the club, buddy. Do these terrible things. And now he's an individual that it needs, he's so conflicted in his heart. Whereas Lady Gaga, she's okay with what she's done.
Yeah, like the
There's
based
a difference.
The based mind.
Yeah, she's just okay, yeah, this is what I paid to get here. And it's there's these two types of things that I see. So my perspective is that with a lot of the people in the celebrities field, I see them both on both ends of the spectrum. And I see that they're still involved in some capacity most of the time. Okay. And if they're not, they've been around it. Okay. And so, it's just a matter of time. And the devil shows up and he's like, hey, if you want to move to the next level, you got to do this little extra thing for me. And
You're
it's
right.
and so they keep doing the little extra and the little more and the little more. And every time they do a little bit more of selling their personal convictions, that is the process of selling your soul. And the more they do go against their convictions, the more they channel out of their body, and the more the demon becomes possessed, and the more powerful demons come into them. So they don't start off with weak demon, and it grows. It's as they move up, another entity will say, hey, we're going to take over Lady Gaga now. We're going to hold this position because she's gotten big enough that we'll handle it from here, little demons. And the bigger ones will move in. So that's what I've experienced and seen.
I think that, I agree with what you guys are saying, but the thing that I thought was interesting about what his perspective was saying that it's we see celebrities that obviously are doing evil things, and we're saying so they're possessed by demons. But it's interesting the way he kind of phrased it, where he's saying that not every celebrity has one, but it seems like there's this correlation between the people who probably already had demons pursuing the fame, the fortune. You know what I mean? So these people already are demonized, and this is what gives them the drive to go to Hollywood and to New York and the big places to be a celebrity. And so, but I thought that's interesting because especially when you bring it back to an idea, so that might be maybe your Lady Gaga example. But then when you get to a Justin Bieber, it's well, he was just a kid. He was a talented kid. He was a kid that was blessed by God because obviously he's a good looking kid. He can sing, he can dance, he's got a lot of talent. And then so what the enemy would say is, I'm going to get this guy infused with demons early on. So then I can control him and control his trajectory. And then when he's an asset to me, I can puppeteer him when I want. So it's like that's why it seems like that you probably have your like your Nickelodeons and your Disney
And
where
they were a lot of
they
them were
get them real
innocent.
young.
Yeah, they were
And
innocent at first, and then they perverted them.
it's not even necessarily that they made sacrifices. It's like somebody else is making sacrifice or they are the sacrifice.
Yep.
They're
Parents.
the ones who are
The
it's like
parents,
the
yeah.
parents are the ones who it's like they're making a deal with the devil and they're offering their
Yep.
firstborn.
Oh my gosh, so sad. Yep.
No, I mean, but I think that's what it is. So like these kids, they I mean, what level of a choice did they actually have? I mean, because like you said, you see like your kids and you're watching the TV and then they're watching like the Michael Jackson movie. And they're thinking like how cool it is that this guy had all this stuff and he's so talented and his songs are good. And then so when a parent says, "Hey, I bet you could do that." Of course, they're like naturally like a kid who trusts their parents are going to say, "Yeah, I'm all in. Let's do whatever it takes." But they actually have no idea what they're agreeing to when they
Uh-huh.
say that. And when they want to get out, you can't get out because the parent made a deal with the devil. The money is too good for the parent. They don't want to let the kid out. And they know their eyes are wide open when they're making these deals. The kids have no idea. So then through this dark spiritual force, then it's like, yeah, so then by the time you see the end result of like what Hollywood looks like, of course, naturally it's demons, bro. But but there is nuance there, right? And it does seem like that, like a Justin Bieber seeming a very tormented person. That's why it is heartbreaking to see like that. What was the last time was he on the Grammys and he's like out there in his underwear and just in his socks and it's like what is going on with him? It's like he does seem like somebody who's been traumatized so much that he's tried to make himself look as unappealing as he possibly can because he doesn't want the drama from like what happened before.
He's a
You see that like
tortured
the same
soul.
thing with like like with an Amanda Bynes, like somebody who's probably been like you don't even want to know the stuff that she probably had to deal with. And now when you look at her, you're like, she doesn't look like Amanda Bynes anymore. And that was probably intentional. Like, or maybe it was a subconscious decision to try to run away from like the young pretty girl who was victimized and become something that is it gives her protection, right?
Did you guys see the promotional picture of Justin Bieber at the World Cup?
Yeah, wasn't he getting hoisted up like backwards or something like weird?
No, so there was obviously a ton of symbolism at the actual World Cup. But yeah, if you can pull up the picture, the promotional picture for Justin Bieber performing was a black and white picture of him shirtless, holding what I think was his child backwards over his head. And he was holding the child's legs in the air and the legs were like making horns.
There it is. Interesting. It's not exactly like horns, but that is a definitely weird thing.
I mean, those are pretty clear horns to me. They look a lot like
Yeah, I
that
could see
ceremonial
it.
outfit Obama wore.
It's weird. It's absolutely bizarre. And if it's not horns, like what the heck is it?
What is that supposed to be?
I mean, of all of the promos that they could have used, it could have just been him standing there. You know what I mean? It could have been. I think.
Yeah.
It seems to me like he's just tormented and pulled between his values of what his heart and soul really wants. I really do think that in his heart that he wants to chase after Jesus and follow Jesus, and I think that's why you see him going that way. But in the meantime, he's like obligated to fulfill the commitment that he was bonded into, basically. And so it's like I don't know all the details, but I can't even imagine, dude. I can't imagine what kind of hell that would be.
Well, I know that when you sell your soul for something, you don't get to keep when you want it back what they gave you. And so to imagine what Justin has sold to get to the position he's in to some degree, like it was like a little bit of fame from the Lord and then the rest of it was just from the devil at that point, because there was a certain point where he crossed the line and started doing things that compromised himself, obviously. And once he started doing that, you could tell that he was tormenting himself. And he's been tormented because he's struggling with this fact that he's probably participated in all kinds of terrible ritual things. And now he's like struggling, like, and then he's still producing this kind of content because whatever it is he has to do to survive, now he thinks he has to keep doing it to survive, because the demons are like, well, if you don't continue, we'll take all of your fame and everything. You'll be homeless man on
And
the
you're
street.
not just that,
And your family.
might be
Yeah, your
taking
family.
threatening his people in his family.
Yeah.
You know what? It reminds me, I know Brian and I talked about this a long time ago, is that, so in the Marvel comics, in like sometime I want to say after all the Infinity War and Endgame stuff came out, or maybe it was around the same time, that in the comic books, Tony Stark was starting to be presented as the Antichrist. And I don't mean that like as in me talking about in symbolism. I mean like literally the comic
Really?
books is saying he is actually the Antichrist. Like they had a whole series where Mephisto is basically your devil character in the the Marvel comic universe. He looks exactly like you would think the devil would be portrayed. And he appears to Iron Man, and he's given him, I think he's given like a flashback, or the comics having a flashback where Howard Stark, who looks just like Jack Parsons, by the way, he's like, they're in this gigantic mansion and they're doing like some kind of Illuminati ceremony where Tony Stark as a child is like peeking out through the door and he's witnessing some kind of a ritual. And so I think Tony Stark asked Mephisto, is like, so my dad sold his soul to you? And he says, and Mephisto says, no, he sold your soul to me. And so like, this is how the origin of like him becoming the Antichrist is. And so I think that's like that, like literally that's
So
what we're talking
disturbing.
about with these celebrities. It's like, it's not like that Justin Bieber signed his name on the contract with blood. It's like somebody else did it for him.
But there was
Like
still
he
a
was
point
he was the prize. And so like nobody really knows what happened after he got famous and like the things he's done since then. But it does seem like whatever happened was really dark and disturbing. And yeah, that's why there's this conflict like that you can openly see with him. But I think that that's more likely what actually happens is that when it's a child, no, they don't have the consent, just like we don't let children consent to all kinds of things. Of course, they can't make decisions about the eternal soul they have without understanding like what's happening with it. So like I think that's maybe like gives me a little bit of hope for him. I mean, obviously it's super disturbing and sad, but if they didn't consciously make the decisions, and I think that maybe the lie from the enemy is that they can't get out because they've made the deal, even though a lot of that was trauma inflicted on them and they were the victim, not actually the perpetrator.
So that's why it says in the Bible, greater than a millstone be tied around your neck and you cast in the sea, then you hurt one of these little ones. The reason why it says this is because of what you just listed. Because when somebody is manipulating and hurting a child, like it distorts their entire perspective of reality. So like the thing is, like Justin Bieber's parents knew when they signed him up on the dotted line, they had an inkling in their heart and they knew something. I'm kind of selling out my child. I don't know if this is good for him, but then they neglected and said, oh, that many million? Sure.
Yeah, how many zeros? How many zeros?
Okay, we'll sign him over to you. Like, I mean, we'll
and then it's
figure
a
it out
wink and a
later.
nod. Oh, it's not really like that. Don't worry
Yeah.
about that. But then
But
everybody
Yep.
knows that
And
it's that.
And at a certain point, Justin was taken advantage of, and I'm sure by unwittingly, and it was against his own. And you could tell when you saw him when he says, like, I feel violated. He literally says that on a stage when somebody grabs him once and like grabs
Oh, yeah,
him.
wasn't
and,
it like Jenny
kisses
McCarthy or somebody like that? Just went up there and just groped him.
Yeah, and he was like, I feel violated. He's like, and he's like not joking. He's literally not joking. And he's like, what the heck? And you could see it on his face, but everybody thinks it's funny and they're laughing. And he's like, no, like, what? Like, and so you can see that his heart is like not okay with what is happening to him. But at a certain point, there was a point where he was like, just give into it. And I'm sure he probably did. At a certain point, he gave into whatever stuff they were trying to push onto him. And who knows what other rituals, because it's a level of depravity. It always starts off with little. It starts off a little bit of perversion, gets a little more, gets a little more, gets a little more, and pretty soon you're drinking blood of children. Like that's literally what happens. Like I know it
I
sounds
mean, it is a
crazy, but
situation where, again, like I mentioned earlier, that the victimized becomes the victimizer at
yep,
some
yep.
point. Like it's just this pattern, this cyclical pattern of abuse, and it's really sad and sick. Okay, I got another video about the celebrity stuff. It's more like a again, they don't always openly acknowledge what they do, but they do seem to use some kind of codes and symbols to say who they are.
A lot of you in my comments section seem to be pretty interested in the Basquiat crown tattoo, so let's dive into some celebrities who have gotten this tattoo and kind of explore why. Obviously, Dave Bautista is number one. LeBron James would be another celebrity who has gotten the Basquiat crown tattoo, as he got his in late 2023. Chris Rock, at 55 years old, ended up getting his first tattoo in 2020, which just so happened to be the Basquiat crown. P. Diddy is another one who got his three-pointed crown tattoo at the base of his neck, but what's interesting is he got it right above his Orzili Dantor tattoo. Now, what's interesting about Basquiat is they considered him a medium, a magician, a scion of sorts. And that Basquiat had learned Haitian voodoo from his mother and learned how to channel immortal deities to the mortal realm. One of those specifically being Elise/Orzili Dantor, the Black Madonna. Kind of coincidental, I'd say. And it just gets more and more interesting as time goes by. Madonna, didn't Basquiat ask for his paintings back? Now, some of his paintings you will see posted by the Kardashians, as this is the exact painting that was spotted the night of the Wicked Sleepover party with Ariana Grande. Do any of you guys remember that? And rumor has it Kim purchased this painting through Christie's auction house. Now, where have I heard that name before? You also see celebrities like Kylie Jenner, Johnny Depp, Leonardo DiCaprio. Now, how many does he have again? Jay-Z and Beyonce, among many, many others, like Ellen DeGeneres, who has 1, 2, 3 paintings. And this is the painting that went kind of viral around 2020. Do any of you remember that? It was around this time frame. And this was the exact painting that kind of encouraged this trend, if you will. Now, rumor has it is that Basquiat put a lot into his paintings, even pieces of himself. Mary-Kate and Ashley are two among many celebrities who are very, very involved in Basquiat art. And I dare say that Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen's transformations are among the most shocking in Hollywood, as they went from normal-looking young women to almost looking like shamans themselves. And it has made me wonder many, many times if what Hollywood calls method acting is actually a channeling of an entity of sort.
Usually once I get into costume, I sort of just become her. And so I don't know how the extras think I am in real life, because when I get those shoes on, it's a whole other story.
I mean, you guys do remember what happened to Heath Ledger after he played the character Joker, don't you? And this isn't Heath, by the way. This is P. Diddy. And this is always a very, very heated discussion in my comment section when I bring this topic up. But I do find immense irony in the fact that an artist who is against this class specifically is still in 2026 being exploited by these exact people. And that maybe there is a bit more to his art than anybody ever realized.
I do not like the way that art makes me feel inside. None of it.
Bro, she does such a good job. A truth, like she's great. I just talked to her too, like just recently. She's awesome. She's like exposing so much, and she's pissing off the occultists so bad right now, bro. She's straight calling out some people, and they're already like trying to attack her because she's like exposing some legit like things. She digs really good.
Yeah, I'm trying to get her on the podcast. I've reached out to her.
Okay, sweet.
But that's interesting that the funny part is that last week we talked about art, right? We talked about the guy who pooped himself into a savant of an artistic genius. Does anyone believe that anything that you just saw would be considered anything above like a 3-year-old drawing? Anything that you just saw?
They look like the scribblings of a demon.
Exactly what they are. That's exactly what they are.
Well, it said that this guy Basquiat was connected with Haitian voodoo, right? So it's communicating with demons. But I mean, yeah, they must see that. There must be. I mean, it's hard to even see because it does just look grotesque, is what you're looking at. It looks like there's this dark vibe around it. It doesn't look pleasant to look at. It's not artistically, aesthetically pleasing. It looks like trash. But so what is it about it, especially that interesting that crown tattoo? That again, it's like a child could draw a crown like a million times better than the ones that they're getting inked onto their bodies. It's like,
All of those people, like, what is it with every one of those guys that are doing that? Like, it
They
seems
didn't do it when
pretty.
they were younger. They did it like when they were older. And like the Chris Rock photo was like a
Bro,
badge of honor, like the way he was like showing up in that picture. You know, like he had his sleeve pulled up, and
yeah, that's really weird. Would they say he was 50 something years old and he got his first tattoo and he got that crown?
yeah, it's obviously symbolizing something having shifted or taken place, or I don't know.
I mean,
I don't
it's
want to
fun.
know.
It's very fascinating that it looks like children drew some of it. And it makes me wonder if it actually was children drawing it, and or if it was, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of makes you wonder
I actually I think that makes sense. It does
and
make
he's
sense. Is
it's
this
like
the
his
drawings?
victims
Is this the drawings of a child who's been demonically possessed?
victimized. It makes you wonder because it's like, what good does a man, like, why does Basquiat even got this much level of fame in the first place? Like, what? Like, why is he like, and then why are they all a part of what he's doing? And what was his drama with Madonna? He had some drama with Madonna.
That was the interesting part. I was just wondering that myself, is that so he wanted her to return the art that she had. But like, it's almost like, I don't know if she's phrasing it, the woman who made the video, if she's phrasing it in the way that like he's against what she's doing, or it's like, is this just a squabble between two
I think it's a
demonically
squabble.
possessed people?
Yeah, that's what it seems
You know what I'm
like.
saying? Like this guy is, well, for
Demon's
whatever,
like, give me back my picture, you demon.
for whatever this art is, it seems to represent some kind of a power for these elites. So maybe that's just a situation where it's like, I don't want you to have the power that I've painted or whatever, like whatever this does, I don't want you to have it anymore. So it's not necessarily like he's against what her whole mission is, but maybe it is like that. That's the whole thing with like the army of darkness. It's not like that they are this cohesive, like singing Kumbaya. Like there's enemy factions, like the people who are like in the Game of Thrones in this situation. They're constantly knifing each other in the back. So no, I'd be curious what people have learned in the comment section, if you guys have learned anything more about this, because otherwise it does just seem like, yeah, it's demons, bro. Like, I mean, obviously that's the most simple answer to all of it. It's demons, bro. But like, what's up with that? I mean, otherwise, like, why would these celebrities with so much money to buy any kind of artwork they buy stuff that is
retarded?
Retarded and despicable looking. It looks gross, grotesque.
Yeah, it's disturbing.
And confusing. And again, like the devil is the god of confusion. So when you go into somebody's house and they have that picture on the wall, run.
Something's not right.
Run.
Yeah, yes, run.
Go the opposite direction as fast as you possibly can.
Yeah, if you go to a house and somebody's got something like that on their wall, rest assured they are doing terrible things in terrible ways.
Okay,
or they're deceived. Maybe they're deceived. I don't know.
Well,
possibly.
Anybody who's doing the stuff that these people are doing are deceived themselves and also deceivers. Okay, I want to do a quick transition video. This video is going to be like a palate cleanser because this has been a pretty dark podcast, or at least the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But this video right here is, I don't know. I think it's just cool. We got to watch this. I don't know if Brian's seen this yet.
This is in real time.
All right, I'm down in Florida getting the training. This is a preview of what's coming, Acadiana.
Got it.
This looks like AI generated, but this is not AI. This is real life laser cleaning in action.
Oh, yeah,
you seen that,
totally
Brian?
Seen that. I haven't seen that video, but I've definitely seen laser rust removal technology. Those are pretty powerful lasers. But
Fascinating.
those are crazy. Yeah, they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, that's what the guy said. He said it looks like AI. And yeah, that's the first thought. It's like, that looks too futuristic and strange to be real. Is that
It's just
real?
the
Is
laser-
that totally real?
Yeah, it's totally real. It's a laser beam that shoots out and it removes rust off the metal. But what you're seeing is the smoke as it's burning it off is like getting into the beam, and the beam lights up. Because my laser machine I have, like you can't see the beam. You can't see the laser beam at all until smoke gets into it. So it's like it's invisible. So the beam it's a beam ray, and it's like literally invisible until the burning comes into the beam.
Like, you couldn't really see any smoke coming up. Like,
You
straight
could
up.
actually, but the smoke coming off of a laser is white a lot of times, so it's not always. It's like because it burns it at such a high temperature, it turns white. Like it's a different kind of reaction. So you can't really see the smoke as it's cooking it, but it's shooting off, and it's like just little flares of smoke are falling into the beam.
Do you think that this is similar technology to the people with like the direct energy weapons?
No, it's not. This is old technology. We've had this for a while. This technology's been around for a long time. So like, I mean, like,
Well, direct
it's-
energy weapon technology's probably been around for a long
yeah,
time.
that's
too,
true.
though.
That's true. But this has been known to the public for a long time. This laser beam cleaning tool. This has been around for I don't know, like at least 10 years.
I think
And-
it's more like what they use to carve like stuff out of stone, like what we see some of those old, like almost like 3D printed looking buildings, like in India and stuff.
Yeah, that's
oh, yeah.
interesting.
That's an
I think-
interesting idea.
I think
Yeah,
it's in the
that
same
could be
wheelhouse.
that could totally be something. I mean, like that would be way more powerful, because the thing is about that beam, like it can burn off weak metal like rust, but it can't cut into metal. So like that beam will pop the rust off of metal, but it won't actually cut or damage the metal.
But you
It's
figure
really
like
interesting.
this is what consumers can get their hands on. So like
Sure.
behind closed doors, like they have it mastered. They know what every single
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
know the
somebody
high levels,
said,
the low levels.
That's cool, but I want to be able to cut it in half. with the laser.
yeah.
Can
Like
you make
I
the laser
often
that hot? Yes, we can.
I often make the correlation like this. It's like, do you all really think that they created microwaves in what, like the 50s,
Yeah.
60s, and then gave us all the technology for microwaves, and they just stopped exploring what they can do with
Mhm.
waves? Like, you know what I mean?
No.
You can do all of that with a microwave. Like, dude, they know the full extent of what can be done. And you guys know my theory. I think all technology is old, so I don't think any of it's new. I think they know exactly what to give us as a society, and so they hand out what they know society can handle properly and keep everything else.
You know, it makes me think about that video we showed last week where I can't remember where it was, somewhere in the Middle East, where those two stones were like set up almost like on these little legs, and they were just cut just straight through. That's
Mhm.
what it seems like. If it wasn't a lightsaber, it was a laser
Mhm.
to just cut that thing right in half.
So
Yeah.
so just so you guys know, that laser beam is typically it's about they make them like that are apparently around like 300 watts. That's 3 light bulbs, guys. Like
Yeah,
or
300
maybe
watts. 300 watts. Back in my
That's-
cycling days, I could do over 300 watts for an hour.
Yeah, bro, that's not a lot of power to do that. Like what you're talking about, like some of them, like that one may have been like a closer to like an 800 watt one or 1,000 watt one, but they're typically that's like, bro, that's like I don't know, a 60 watt light bulb. Okay, and so just imagine what is that?
1.21 gigawatts.
Five
What
five
could
light
that do?
bulbs. 5 light bulbs plugged into your outlet is doing what you just witnessed. You know what I mean? Like that's
Well,
the
that's what I'm
power.
saying. So, like, if you have a laser that can do that, like, if you amp up the power, like, what could it do? Could it, I don't know, fry a whole city?
Dude, there's so
Yes.
much laser
Yes.
technology, bro. I rebuilt a laser that I have, one of them, and like 2 of them actually. I rebuilt 2 laser technology devices I have, and dude, it's crazy, bro. There's actually, when I was rebuilding it, I found out that there is laser diodes that you cannot get from one website because they're too powerful if they also sell the power source, and so the websites will get taken down. So you can buy a laser diode from one website if they're only selling this one, and then you have to buy the power source and some other components from another website. But when you put them together, it can make a powerful laser that is so powerful you can just put a hole through aluminum like through a can real fast.
Okay, let's stay on the topic of electricity because I found this video and I thought it was pretty interesting.
I heard that if you walk under a power line with a fluorescent bulb, it'll light up. Is this actually true? Well, let's try it. I found these big power lines to try this on. I'm pretty sure they're around 230 volt AC transmission lines. But can they actually light up a bulb in my hand? Well, let's try it. Okay, pick it up. Lightsaber on. Okay, look at this. Just reach it up and the entire thing lights up. It's almost like you touch your staff to the ground and it lights up. Look at that. I feel like a Power Ranger. None shall pass. That's crazy. It's literally like it plugs into a socket. This worked way better than I thought it would. Wherever my hand touched the bulb, it lit up. Or if I just touched the bulb to the ground, it lit up as well. It's like I could plug it into the ground. This was so weird to see in real life. It felt a little tingly in my hand, and you could kind of feel it vibrating, but nothing close to feeling like I was getting shocked or anything. Even in areas where it was bright from the street lights, you could easily see the bulb light up in my hand. This was so surprising how easy it was to get this to work. It's crazy because this power line, they just go right over the houses here. Some people have it literally the pole in their backyard. Wonder if they can feel it in their houses.
About that.
That's pretty cool, actually. I mean, that's like Tesla technology, like Tesla was like doing that kind of stuff with the light bulbs. But imagine living under one of those power lines. Like, imagine what it's doing to your body in some capacity. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
isn't that been the old joke? Wasn't it when Tommy Boy was going around doing his crazy sales calls and the guy was like, did you live under power lines as a kid? It's kind of like the idea, did you eat paint chips? Like, there's something about living under the power lines that was associated with growing up and becoming retarded later.
Really? I didn't know
Something
that.
like that. I mean, that was the joke. I mean, I'm not saying it's legit, but I'm saying like that's where that idea comes from. I mean, I was wondering how it worked when, like, so the guy would hold, like, he was choking up on the light bulb, but the bottom part was not lighting up, but only the part above his hand was lighting up. So it seemed like, was he conducting the energy that was in the ground? You know what I mean? Like his body was conducting it and it was going up from his hand up. You know what I'm saying? Like that his legs touching the ground. Like if he was suspended, like he probably wouldn't have lit up. But the fact that he was touching the ground, it caused it to light up.
Maybe, but it's atmospheric. Atmospheric something, I forget was the term, where the differentiation between the higher up something is and the ground, the electrodes that build on the ground versus in the atmosphere, it creates a difference that creates the positive and negative. So there's like an effect, but you do have to all you have to do is just put something in the sky and be touching the ground. So like, yeah, I think you might be right, but that's what I forget the name of the phenomenon is called, but it's something atmospheric differentiation or something like that.
What I don't think he realized, but he didn't have to be standing near the tower to touch that thing to the ground. If he would have touched that thing to like soil anywhere, it would have lit up like that.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
No.
I mean, so how? But he'd have to be somewhere close to those power lines, or no?
I don't think so. We'll have to try it ourselves.
Are you serious?
So if you drove out to the desert with one of those things, you just touch it to the ground, it's going to light up?
No.
I'm pretty sure if you touch it to the ground, like in soil anywhere, that it will.
No, that's not true. Really?
Give it a try.
Okay.
Give it a try.
Oh my gosh.
We're going to have to conduct some real experiments.
I've got some. I got lights right now. I'll just take out some fluorescents and go test it.
Soil, like grass, soil, like raw ground. Try it.
I'll
tag us, Brian, on your Instagram, and we'll play it next week. But no, it is interesting.
Only if it works.
Just to think about it.
If it doesn't work, we'll scrub all of this.
Yeah, we'll wipe this part out of the video out.
I mean, but it is interesting just to consider that, like, this technology doesn't take cords or all of the apparatuses we use to conduct electricity, where it just makes me think of the old world, is that you have a power source, it's emanating power. Yeah, kind of like what they say, like Tesla power coils. And this power is coming out, and you only need something that can harness it. But I guess the truth is, whether you're using a light bulb in your hand, like this energy is going through us. As you said, like you're living under the power lines. Like this energy is all around us. And it's just really about harnessing it and putting it to good use.
Mm-hmm.
So there's definitely some missing component about it. Like they're not telling us exactly what all's happening.
No,
There's so
that's
much more to it.
interesting.
Like I said, that's why when you get into the old world stuff and you start looking at the antiquitech on these buildings, you don't tell me it's not for it. It's more than a lightning rod. It's doing something.
Well, I think we showed on I think I played this video on mixtape. Maybe I didn't, but there's video of a guy flying a kite, or was it flying a kite? No, it wasn't flying a kite. I'm thinking of Benjamin Franklin over here. This guy,
when Benjamin Franklin in the 1700s was the first person to ever make the connection that lightning was electric.
well, no, so I don't remember what it was. He either used a balloon or he used a drone. I think he used a drone, but he sent
I think I know
something
what you're
up
talking about. And he flew it
into
up
the
high
air.
enough. Yeah.
And he had a copper wire that was in the air, and it was only up like 20 or 30 feet. The copper wire came all the way down to the ground, and he was actually able to get straight up power from it.
Yeah, that's the power differential that I'm talking about. If you put anything, because the thing is, there's in the upper atmosphere, there's ions that are positively charged, and the Earth is negatively charged, and so they're floating up in the atmosphere. So if you put anything high enough in the atmosphere, while there's a cable touched to something on the ground, you will get a differential of power. There will be a differentiation of power. So like that, but it's not a lot. It's not enough to light a light bulb. But I'm gonna try it, and we're gonna have a video.
Okay,
we'll see.
We'll try it out. Okay, so I got actually a good video to piggyback on that. It is about old world electricity.
So why would a statue be holding cut wires? Why the wings? Why the pose? Why the gold and the sphere? These aren't just random choices if you're awakened. Now look behind it. An old world building that has copper domes, chimneys, chambers, statues, structures that were literally engineered for energy collection from the ether. Old world ether tech resonance. People act like this was built in the 1800s, during a time when Dallas was dirt roads and horse carts after the Civil War. Come on. They could barely build wooden houses, but they built this. The more you look at it, the more the story collapses. These details weren't carved by people with no electricity, no machinery, no money, no architects, no infrastructure. And they're everywhere, every major city. And we're just told, yeah, people in the 1890s built all this and expected to just move on right past it. Take your photo, walk away, go eat your fast food. You don't even know what's in that. Now, these aren't just aesthetics. These were functional structures, copper, mercury chambers, resonant towers. They were harvesting something, and now they're just sitting here, empty, silent, repurposed. Like the statue right here with the cut wires. You know, a fallen messenger with broken power in his hand, right in front of a building that once pulled energy from the ether. They put it right in your face, right in plain sight. And the wild part is how confidently they tell us the opposite from an early age in school. But the wisdom of Solomon says, the deeds of the wicked are exposed at the end. Everything hidden gets revealed. So don't worry about sounding crazy, and don't worry about who rules the world. These fallen angels have a place waiting for them deep in the Tartarus. Truth has a way of coming out at the end and surviving. Once you see this, you can't unsee it. Comment your thoughts below and let me know where you want me to go next, and share this with your friends to wake them up.
That
cool.
statue, that's an interesting connection, no pun intended, that this thing had wires that were ripped apart. Where it is, it's almost like that you see is the symbolism here, especially because he's like standing on this sphere. And you think about like when you think about like the way that electricity works and the way that you see like diagrams of things and like, you know, like that's something that would be used to conduct electricity. So then this guy is like representing some kind of an angel holding lightning bolts, and then he's got ripped power cords in the other arm.
Yeah,
Is
weird.
it like, it does seem like something where it's saying that this technology that was once had has been taken from you, and then it's going to be reintroduced in this other way. now.
Hmm.
What do you think?
Hey, Aaron
Yeah. No, I
believes it.
mean, what?
I was gonna say you believe that all technology was already here.
I really do, man. I really do. I think that they've tried this many times with people. I think that they slowly introduce things and then they give them to people in a specific way at a specific time in specific intervals. And we're just experiencing, whatever they're willing to give us at that moment, and they're prepared for whatever's next and guiding humanity through, that phase of technology. I don't know, man. I can't personally, I can't see it any other way. But yeah, no, that statue is very clearly showing like the power being in the hand, in the sky. Like it was up in the air, in the sky, and they were grabbing the power from the air, the energy from the air. And then in the other one, it was in the cables, and it was kind of showing you like, this is what's available, but this is what you're going to get.
But yeah, I made a video about something about that. I've made a few videos about that. I won't even bore you guys with my old video, but it was just a situation where on lots of these old power buildings, they have references to like these angels or like something that looks like maybe even like the devil himself or like Apollo. And he's holding like this power. And it's like, I think that, yeah, the more that I'm thinking about it, it's like, is this trying to say that this is replacing these gods or something like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, is this replacing these angels? Is it now it's got the same kind of thing where it's like you have like an angel or some kind of a god holding a lightning bolt on top of a building that's actually literally a power building. And of course, and it says Paul calls the devil the prince of the power of the air. And you think about the idea that there's electricity in the air. It seems like, yeah, it seems like that they're saying something without saying something. Like this is a symbol that this has replaced the power structure, the power grid that was before. I don't know. Like, I mean, or maybe they're giving credit to these demons for the power now and taking it away from, the power that God obviously established in the place that we live. I mean, again, the electricity is not from the devil. It's from like, it's already here. I mean, we have electricity in our own bodies.
Well, it is called electricity, like the Elohim, elect,
Well, and
electricity.
No, I mean, I think there's got to be something to it. I mean, like some of these really old, quote unquote, Art Deco buildings that were power buildings, they got some of the craziest like iconography and statues on them. Almost all of them, all the old ones too.
They totally do. And the copper thing is like a common thing that they put on there. Who thought like, let's get this copper ore and turn it into sheets and cover our ceilings with it that turns green? Like who thought that was a great idea? But it's really, it is very peculiar because it does have a lot. It's a very conductive material. So it is very unusual.
Yeah. You know what? I won't bore you with my old video, but I do have a bunch of really cool pictures. I remember on my Pinterest page years ago, I saved a bunch of stuff about electricity, all these power buildings. It's pretty weird. Okay, so check it out. So this is in Syracuse, New York, and I think this was the Niagara Mohawk building.
What the heck? It's so interesting. Like, what is this? Who decides I want to make a Batman-looking building, and then it just be like normal? I mean, it is kind of cool looking.
I mean, it's definitely cool. Here's another one. This is the General Electric building in New York City.
Yeah, right. General Electric. That looks like a freaking cathedral. What is that up there? Dude, what is that?
That's wild, right?
You don't get to see. You can't even see what it is. Bro, especially like, the radiator buildings. All the buildings that are like the radiator companies.
That totally looks like it belongs in Lord of the Rings. Am I wrong about that?
No,
Yeah,
you're not wrong at all.
Yeah, some of these buildings in here, there's like, what about this one over here? This is I don't know if this is a power building. Those other ones were, but like this one is, I think, in Buffalo, New York.
Those are two pairs of wings up there, it looks like. 4 wings, yeah. Look at that.
Isn't that crazy? This one is in Kansas City. I'm pretty sure this is the building that they modeled the Ghostbusters movie after. It's like the Kansas City
Mhm.
Power and Light building. Oh, it's crazy, dude. Especially when they show
Bro,
it lit up.
look how they like take things from history and they put them in movies and stuff and they erase them. You know, it's like you know what it makes me think of? It makes me think of like the Redskins. Like the Redskins were like our play, like you
Used to
know,
be such a good football team.
yeah, whatever team they were. Yeah, but the thing is, like they put it in there and then they delete it and say, oh, it's not that thing, and we're erasing it. And now they're just, what are they called now? The Chiefs or something? I don't know.
No, they're called the stupid Commanders. It's like it's
The
not even
Commanders.
yeah,
You
the
can't even
Commanders.
see.
Yeah.
But it's like they put it as something else, and then they put it as what it is, then they change it to something else, and then they erase it. It's been the pattern that they do all the time. So it's like, was this really this building ever? What is that? You know, what is that? The Hulk? Is the Hulk growing
So
out of the city there?
this is I want to say so this was he didn't show that in his video, but see this is in Dallas, Texas too, and this is one of these old Art Deco power buildings too. Now what the heck is that?
That's Zeus.
It doesn't
That's
really look
Zeus
like
Hulk.
Zeus though, but it is obviously some kind of reference to some kind of god. But obviously, look at all the power going around them, like the pillars and stuff. I mean, it's obviously very Masonic looking. But I mean, that's
And
like
what
I'm
if
saying.
that was
Oh, so
like
here's
everybody knew the power came from these gods back in the day, and then they just lied to us, and now we think they come from water plants, but really there's like demons in there that are like juicing it.
yeah. So this is in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Are you seeing a pattern here? It's like this
Yep.
is all. So
Makes
this
me
is the
think of-
Alabama power company. Look, it's got like some kind of devil.
But
Dude,
do you
yeah,
notice how
see?
you notice how all of them have one hand up and one hand down though?
Mm.
Yeah, you're right about
Yeah.
that.
All of them. Not
I said,
exactly like down in the same way that you know what I'm referring to. But
yeah, this
still,
one's not doing the as above, so below, but it is like one arm's outstretched, the other one is down.
dude, those buildings are so beautiful.
They're
I would
so crazy,
love-
dude.
They are. I would love so much to go in and see the inner workings of those things.
For show.
I watched a whole documentary on those like back in the day, and this guy was showing all of these buildings that have those, all of the ones that have towers, and all of them that have like copper roofs or whatever around the towers, and it's obvious that they were like collection centers. But what's crazy is that none of the buildings that we have access to, that like us useless eaters can get to, like have the original unit inside of like whatever would have collected that. Like there's missing components, you know what I mean? So like whatever
Right,
would have
yeah.
whatever would have collected it and held on to it, like there's no, like none of us have access to what that would have looked like.
Yeah, yeah, and that documentary with was it called gosh,
Wait, I
was
got
that Erewhon? It was something about the lost history of flat Earth. He talked about that, how a lot of the things look like they're missing whatever the machinery that would have been inside
yeah.
one of these
Mhm.
things.
That's probably
And-
what I'm referring to.
Yeah, and in a lot of cases too, a lot of these old buildings. I want to say one of our friends on TikTok, Brian, I think you commented on his video, like they had a like a state capitol building or like a city capitol building or something like that, and it had the dome was missing. And it was some kind of big copper dome or something like that. So in a lot of cases, these old buildings, if you see like really old pictures of them, they had towers and spires and they had domes, and then they removed them, and then these buildings now look like they just have flat roofs, but they all had all this stuff on top of them. And again, I don't think you do that without a practical purpose. I mean, it is aesthetically beautiful, but I think they were doing more than one.
You know what it makes me think of is this one right here. It makes me think of this.
Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt!
Lightning bolt!
Death!
Brian,
all I
that's
could
what
think.
that made
That's
you think of that.
Lightning bolt! Lightning bolt! It reminds me also, though, like this goes hand in hand with that conversation that we were having, I don't know how many episodes ago, of that like weapon that's in so many pictures. I think there's even pictures of Washington with it.
Oh yeah, what do they call? I always forget what that's called. It's the axe thing with the bundle of sticks. What do they call that, Brian?
Fascist.
Yeah, the fascist.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
and it's also the same thing in Zeus's hand. It's that little cradle thing that's like got like look 3 little parts on both sides. I forget what it's called. What's the thing in Zeus's hand? What's the weapon?
Well,
in
Zeus also holds that
Zeus's
little
hand?
that sphere, and it's got Nike on it, right?
Yeah, but he's got this thing that's also in India. It's also in India. That weird looking thing. There it is. The Vajra.
The what?
The Vajra. Look here, I'll show you. It makes me think of this thing. So this part. The Vajira. I guess. I don't know what this is. But it's that thing that you sometimes see in Zeus's hand, but it's also in the Indian god's hands. They'll hold it here.
Oh,
And
so
there's
it's like
like
his
giant.
It's like his thunderbolt.
Yeah, it's like this giant weapon thing that he has, and like you'll occasionally see it like it's like his thunderbolt, but it's like a different version of it. And so you'll see it though in the Indian gods' hands a lot of times. So like you'll see it in like their hands. They'll be holding it, and the Indian gods will be. And it's all over India, by the way.
So
this thing.
So let's just walk this backwards. So if we have a archaic version of electricity, when the truth is that electricity literally can be harnessed from the ether, then it's not outside of the realm of possibility that the technology existed, which obviously they would not trust the layman with this technology for so many reasons. They more than likely possess the ability to be able to harness this stuff in a handheld form and throw energy from it. Like literally, right? So if you think about that, the fallen angels themselves, it's probably not that they had the ability to literally throw lightning bolts from their hands, but they understood the technology and they understood how to harness the energy and how to harness that stuff and be able to use it as a weapon on people. And I'm sure they had it in a very small, compact form. Like that makes complete sense to me.
I don't doubt it. I mean, again, at this point, I mean, we just know we're being lied to about stuff. So what absolutely
Everything.
could be possible? Lots of things. All right. I want to shift gears. I want to play a video. This is kind of a follow-up to us talking about Wes Huff a couple weeks ago. So people wonder, like, so like, why is he acting the way that he does? Like, who is he connected to? And I guess, again, I'm not necessarily always trying to say guilt by association, but it is interesting that right after we dropped that podcast talking about the Book of Enoch and Wes Huff, this got dropped on X, this little quick promo video by Jordan Peterson University.
Luther, he said, I want to make Moses so German that no one would suspect he was a Jew. Now that can sound controversial. The Western world sits at its basis with a grounding of Judeo-Christian ethics. All people have intrinsic worth. That's an idea that comes from the Bible. Should the Bible's history cause us to doubt its reliability and authority?
Okay, we don't need to play the whole promo, but you get the gist of it. Is that Jordan Peterson's not a Christian. Jordan Peterson talks about the Bible like a Gnostic would talk about the Bible. Well, there's all these really good moral stories, and it's actually not saying this stuff literally. There's more of an overarching like mythos in this Bible, and then it's like we have the archetypes of people like Jesus and the archetype of a Moses, and you're like, no, it's like if it's not true, it's not true. And if Jesus didn't actually come to earth as God's son and die on a cross and rose again, as Paul said, then all this stuff is pointless. Like, so without that actually being a true story, then no, Jesus can't just be a good moral teacher because he's either God or he's crazy. He gives no room for anything in between. So I just thought that's interesting, especially the way that he starts off the video by saying that he's quoting Martin Luther, and I'd actually be curious what the actual translation of what Martin Luther said about how he wants to make Moses sound more German so he won't be seen as Jewish. But you're like, but Moses wasn't Jewish.
Yeah, Moses wasn't Jewish at all. He was before the Jews. So I'm like, what is the point of that? I was thinking the same thing. Like, what a dumb statement. I don't know, man. That seems pretty ridiculous. And if you read the rest of Martin Luther's books, like the one called like The Jews and Their Lies, why don't you look that book up and then see what he has to say about it. Yeah, look what he has to say about it, because it's pretty funny. And like, honestly, Wes Huff, I challenge you to a duel. Like, your sword skills, you speed them up, bro. And I know, I watch you, bro. I've seen your sword skills.
Let's skip any kind of a debate, and we're gonna do lightsaber duel.
We're fighting. You pick it. We can fence, or we can lightsaber fight, or you pick it. But we're sword fighting, bro.
Daggers or size?
Yeah. Which one? Which one? Nunchucks. I'll go nunchucks with you.
You pick your. Well, it's kind of like in the gladiator arena. That like you're gonna give. You have like the mace. You can have like a sword. But yeah, like we're gonna have nunchucks. We're gonna have a bow staff. We're gonna have
yep.
Obviously,
one hand tied to the other. You guys have to have your hands tied together, so you've only got one hand with a weapon.
Yeah. Well, he can pick the weapon. We can do. I'll be handicapped if he likes. But let's go.
But anyways, back to the structure of this video, though. Okay, so Wes Huff is like a theological scholar, right? So this guy is reading all the old texts and all this stuff, and he's really well studied when it comes to this. Like, so he knows that words matter. Like, it's weird to call Moses a Jew, and it's like, it's biblically, it's incorrect. Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like, if you went to, I don't know, just your regular, I don't know, pick a church around wherever you live, and you walked in there, maybe not necessarily an Orthodox or Catholic church, but maybe if you walked into like a regular Protestant church, and you told people, like the average parishioner of this church, that Abraham was actually not Jewish, and it would like blow their minds. But it's like, this is, so him saying that, are you trying to confuse people? Because like the understanding that the covenant with Abraham was pre-Judea, right? It was before then. So this is not about, so Abraham had no certain lineage other than to Adam. He had no certain lineage that eventually, because everybody was connected to Adam at that point. So Abraham was the son of an idol maker from Babylon, but he chose Abraham through faith. So through faith, Abraham's counted as righteous. So then obviously you have eventually the story about Isaac, and then you get to Esau and Jacob. Jacob becomes Israel. Then you have the 12 tribes that come from from Israel, from Jacob. Yeah, well, Moses was a Levite. He never even got to Judea. As we mentioned last week, he got up to this mountain where he could see the promised land, but he never even got to enter into it. So then trying to say that he's not going to appear to be Jewish is like, we don't have to do that because he's not. Even somebody in the comment section with the controversial video where Wes Huff accused Nick of stealing, somebody was talking about how Enoch was Jewish, and I was like, no, he was. Like, what are you talking about? Enoch was well before Judah. Well before that. What are we even talking about? It's like that some people are so confused, and it's like that Wes Huff should be correcting that kind of stuff. Right? And then when he starts to connect the Judeo-Christian values that formed the Western world, it's like Judeo values and Christian values are not the same.
Not the same at all.
They are not
even remotely. And Judeo values came after Christian values today, just so you guys know. The Judeo values they weren't before Jesus. The ones today in the culture today came after.
I know, it's hilarious too, because especially he's quoting from Martin Luther. It's like, what do you think that Martin Luther thought about Judeo values? But I'm saying, but this is unfortunate, but this seems like that when you make a partnership with Jordan Peterson University or whatever that is, this is like, should believers yoke themselves to unbelievers? Now they would say, oh, this is like he's a classical liberal and he believes in free speech. It's like, so what? I'm so tired of that being like the bar. It's like, oh my gosh, he believes in free speech. It's like back in the day, everybody believed in free speech in America, even though both of these guys are Canadian, I guess. So maybe that's a big deal for them. But I mean, I think that's weird that you connect with this guy. And as soon as you do, the very beginning of the video is about Moses being Jewish and then also Judeo-Christian values. And then eventually he rejects the book of Enoch. And as I said in that video with Nick, the early church said, like Tertullian said, that the reason the Jews were rejecting Enoch is because it pointed to Jesus.
Yep.
And now you see like why somebody's canon might be different than ours.
I think that what we're seeing with him, this is just my opinion, obviously I can be very wrong, but I think what we're seeing with him is what happens a lot, and Brian was actually kind of referring to this earlier. You're seeing someone with a good heart and good intentions who they got some exposure and they got some attention, and it was good attention, and it elevated them, and they're now in an opportunity where perhaps their desires and personal aspirations have become louder than the voice of the Holy Spirit. And so he's been given a carrot and he is biting it. Like he is biting it. And it's like, that is a classic trap of the enemy, is presenting you with everything you hoped for, everything you wanted, everything you've been chasing after. And if it hasn't been placed on the altar, like if it hasn't been given back to Jesus and sacrificed in a way that's like, I don't want this unless you want it for me. If we truly haven't done that, then we'll find ourselves really quickly in a situation that we don't belong in, that we were never supposed to belong in, and start making compromising decisions. And so to answer your question, I mean, I think scripture is pretty clear about whether we should join forces with unbelievers in terms of like that exact situation. I know some people would justify it and some people would say, well, he's called me on a mission. You know, I'm going out there to do this. And I would just say to all of those people, did he though? Like, did he? Like, does he want you there? Or do you really want you there?
That's the dangerous part. It's like when big money, because you know that the pockets of the people who are paying him now are deep. So if that's your issue, then they can take care of that thing.
They got their hooks in for sure.
So that's the thing. So Jordan Peterson's connected with Ben Shapiro in the Daily Wire. He's got his thing here. And then it's like, as soon as he starts talking, this is the beginning of this video. That's what I'm saying. So it's hard to separate of like, is this, I don't know, maybe biasing the way that you present certain content? Because again, not everything has to be a lie, but it's like sometimes it's a lie by omission, because he's talking about Moses not seeming Jewish, but it's like, but again, that's like a lie by saying, like, to even present the idea that he is, even if you're quoting somebody else. It's the same thing. I want to say Netanyahu came out there and quoted some atheist author saying that there's no difference between, history says there's no difference between Genghis Khan and Jesus Christ. And then somebody said, oh, he's quoting somebody else. It's like, who forced him to quote that book? He's quoting it in a certain context. So like if you're quoting something and you're saying, well, I didn't say that, this guy said it. It's like, why are you talking about it then? Unless you're trying to share this thing in the way that the promo is cut. And maybe Wes Huff says, hey, that's actually not how I thought it was going to be cut. It's like, but look who you're in bed with now.
Right. And that's why you got to be careful, because you have no control over that kind of stuff.
Yeah, where it's like, I want you to talk about this. It's the same way that when they talk about the consensus of science, and you have the science is funded by certain, oligarchs or big people in huge business and industries. And it's like, oh, well, the science says this. It's the same way. It's like, well, I'm going to get my experts and I'm going to tell you to research this one thing. And then I'm going to present my one case, but I'm not going to allow you to talk about all the other things that might contradict what I actually believe. It's, like I said, it's lies by omission.
There's no amount of money that's worth the strings that come attached to it. None.
No doubt about that. Okay, I want to go back. I want to throw back to the conversation we were talking about celebrities and sacrifice and stuff like that. I know it's kind of a dark topic. We took a break from it, but I remembered I had this video, because what is happening in the sports ball universe we have LeBron James as a free agent again. And it's a little weird. It's a little weird at this point. For one, it's weird that most people at his age in sports are not as good as he is currently. So a lot of people have speculated, hey, you know, like what happened? Like, is he taking PEDs? Is he on the juice? Probably. But the bigger question to me is like, isn't it enough now? Like, why are you still doing what you're doing? I think it's crazy. And I think it's so crazy that he's such a diva that he bounces from team to team and he wants it to be like back when he left the Cavs the first time and he wants to make this big announcement that he was going to like the Miami Heat and have like a rock concert. It's like the dude is such an attention-seeking diva. But I thought this was interesting about maybe this is another reason why like he's not quitting.
His number would be called 2. And that's why he doesn't want to retire. LeBron James has that boule tattooed on his chest. Half male, half female, half lion with breasts, with his right paw on an urn. People within the system, to go to the next level, you have to sacrifice something. This goes back thousands of years during the time of the pharaohs. He's the greatest fraud ever perpetrated upon the American public. LeBron, and he knew Kobe was going to die. Interesting, the day before Kobe's death, LeBron was in Philadelphia. The Lakers were playing against the Sixers. And there were symbols on that court of a serpent being chopped up, right? And these are luciferic, septagon, octagon, deep state symbols of a pre-scheduled death.
That's pretty interesting because I don't know if everybody knows this, but, you know, Kobe was from Philly. So this is the day before and they got that stuff on the court and he's the Mamba. Like, that's really disturbing. Obviously, the stuff with Kobe where there was that super bizarre cartoon that came out. I'm not sure what year that came out that involved him and a helicopter crash.
Or the toy that they released of him where he was a helicopter. Did you not see that one?
No, I don't think I saw that.
Oh my gosh. Even creepier, bro. This is creepier. Look at this.
Didn't they give him away at the Lakers game?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Bro, this is even more like disturbingly strange. Okay, bro? It's not just that crash. Look at this. Screen share. Bro, they gave out this at the Lakers game. This was like supposedly given out the last game he played. They gave out a helicopter toy Kobe Bryant toy. Robo Jam Kobe Bryant. They gave this out. Apparently,
that's weird.
Bro.
Like, that is really weird.
Dude, this is such a stupid looking toy too. Who would turn, like, what are you even thinking to turn him into a helicopter? Like, I don't know, man. I guess
so. The question is, did Kobe Bryant, the character, die, and he's off on the same island with all of the other people that have allegedly died, or did he actually die?
I think he died for reals. I think they just sacrificed
how could we
him.
know is the thing, though, right? Like, I understand why people are torn on that, because, like, how could we fully know? Like, maybe the character died and he retired into the life that he was promised because he fulfilled all of his obligations.
Well, that goes back into the conversation we're having about with Tyler. So, like, the funny part about, like, the main reason I would disagree with Tyler's theories about so many things is I made a video kind of alluding to his theories after Charlie Kirk died. I said, the idea that none of these people actually die makes it feel like that we're like in a Scooby-Doo cartoon, right? That nobody actually dies. There's a mask and there's a mask under the mask and it's just always somebody else and they're just changing roles. But in the army of darkness, they are not shy about spilling blood. In fact, it's part and parcel of like what they do.
It comes with the territory.
Yeah.
So the idea that it makes more sense that, hey, I'm going to offer you this fame. And of course, this is too simplistic, but it'd be the idea that Kobe's sitting around as a kid and he's saying, man, I would do anything to be as good as Michael Jordan. And then somebody would say, would you say, young man, anything? How about this? I'm going to give you, you're going to be one of the greatest basketball players that ever lived. You're going to win so many championships and scoring titles, and you're going to be an icon, but you're going to die young. You know, you could imagine if people were actually presented with that idea, like, you know, in music, almost any business where, like you said, you take somebody who's young and you offer them, like, you're going to be this and you're going to be like famous forever, but you're going to die young. I bet you a lot of people would take that deal.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people have already taken that deal.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, like, is that the situation? So yeah, I think that he's dead. I think that he's dead. And I could be wrong. Again, I said I thought that Charlie Kirk's dead. I could be wrong about that. Maybe he is in Valhalla on some island in New Zealand or something like that. Maybe he is. I haven't seen any good evidence to say that he's still alive. So I think that when you are affiliated with secret societies like the Boule, you take oaths of fidelity. And if you violate that oath, or if you, who knows what other kind of oaths they take. Those are the only ones we know that are like open, like in the friggin' manual that you can read on the internet. They can absolutely off somebody for violating the fidelity of the club. Or yeah, I think sometimes it does seem like that you have a situation where you have like the connections with Saturn and sacrifice. You have the Saturn return, like that's why you get like the 27 club, where a lot of people die around the age 27 because Saturn is in a certain, I guess, zodiac symbol when you're born or wherever it is, and it takes 26 to 30 years, I believe, to come back to when you were born. And so that's why these celebrities get the Saturn tattoo, or they wear Saturn stuff. They're always repping Saturn, is because usually if you pay attention, either the celebrity themselves dies, somebody close associated them dies, they might get divorced, something really bad happens to these people, and they all talk about this turbulent time when they were in their Saturn return phase.
As much of a brotherhood as they might be, and they look out for each other, and they've got oaths, and they keep their oaths, like, how can you trust anyone? Like, when you're among those kinds of people that are willing to do literally whatever it takes to get to the next level.
They're wolves.
And it's like they're your buddies until they're not. And that's the thing, you know, like if you are not born again and you are not indwelt with the Holy Spirit, and you don't know that about the people you're hanging out with, dude, that would be terrifying. It's just a matter of time in that space before someone's willing to throw you into the fire for their own gain.
And they're all calling themselves and each other goats. The goat. Again, you could have had a different acronym besides greatest of all time. It could have been the boat, the best of all time. But for some reason, it's not a boat, it's a goat. I think that's intentional. And I also think that
the boat. Like, that'll be our new term.
Yeah, we're going to call it the best of all time. No, but if you think about it, is that why LeBron is still playing? Do you think that there's some kind of like he has to keep, he's like a shark, he's got to keep swimming, even though I think that's an old wives' tale, like they can stop swimming and not drown. But it's like he has to keep moving, he has to keep playing, because as soon as he stops, has the bill come due when he quits?
Well, and none of us know how it all works. We can only speculate, but what you have seen from a lot of other stars, when they retire and they made a name for themselves, they continue on in some capacity doing something else in the limelight. So
Sure.
It could be one of those things where it's like the assignment that he's got next is something that he doesn't want to do, or something he's not excited about. So he's trying to drag this out as long as humanly possible, you know, or he's trying to break every single record known to man, or, I mean, who knows? That would be,
he wants to be the boat.
He's trying to be the boat, but it's like, it's one of those things where if you're in that headspace and you're operating in conjunction with the demonic realm intentionally, and that's what's leading you, and you're in a position of authority and power and money and fame, like if you think about it from a worldly perspective, that dude has it all. That would be a very, very, very difficult thing to give up, because he currently has it. He's got it all. And so the second he retires, he's the guy that was at the top. The second he retires, you know what I mean? And so
yeah, but true. But at the same time, there's people like a John Elway, right? John Elway wins 2 Super Bowls back to back, and then he retires. And some people like say that's a pretty good way to go out. Like you go out on top, and you don't go out and like people saying he's overpaid and he's washed up.
What if there's a line where if you got like you either get out right now and keep what you got and you're never going to be in the limelight again and you got to be okay with that life, or if you want more, we'll give you more. But like your life is literally ours from that point. Like you have no choices in the matter whatsoever. It would make sense that there's a line.
I feel like that's the situation he's in. I feel like that it's like the same situation where you talk about all these people that you're like, why don't you just retire? You got tons of money, you got tons of accolades. All you have to do, like LeBron James could easily just pick a show to be on, like, you know, like the guys like Charles Barkley. He could just talk about basketball and he could just be LeBron James. He could goof off and just collect big checks. And everybody pat him on the back and tell him how he's the boat. You know, he could be that. But for some reason, like he's not doing like he, you know, I think a lot of athletes would just like to have that situation where they could just be famous for being one of the best basketball players that ever lived. And then you could just make a career on just going to parties and just smiling on TV. But for some reason, that's not good enough. Or maybe it's a situation. Yeah, he's like like what's his name? Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan saying, "I made a deal a long time ago, and I'm keeping up my end of the bargain. I'm not quitting until they tell me I'm allowed to." Or there's a ticking clock. Yeah, this bill's coming due as soon as he retires. I mean, and I don't wish this on anybody. Something really bad could happen afterwards.
The reality, though, is that the demon has to have a new vessel to stay possessed to move to the next host. Okay, there hasn't been another great person to come to take LeBron's place yet. Like I know the names Kobe Bryant, I know Michael Jordan, I know LeBron James, and I don't know sports. Okay, yet I know those people's names. I don't know any other basketball players today other than those guys' names. Like, and they're all gone except for LeBron. He's the only one playing. So like, until there's another host that rises up, that demon says, okay, this will be my new vessel. I'm sure that demon's looking for its new vessel and it's not finding one. And that's why he's probably still playing, because it hasn't found a new home to continue on with what it's got. You know what I'm saying? Like that entity's looking for its new host. And so there's think about it. Like what other name another popular name in basketball that's popular right now. I'll tell you if they're famous, because guess what? No, I mean, I ain't gonna know their name.
There's
I'm not
gonna
know them. So.
There's some very good players, but yeah, like generational type basketball players. Yeah, like I agree with you. Like I mean, maybe you could have put Shaq in there too.
Yeah, Shaq could be in there for sure.
Yeah, but like those kind of guys who kind of transcend just their being good at basketball, like they're celebrities. They get to be in crappy movies and stuff like that too.
They need that. Look, if LeBron quits, basketball quits. Do you understand? Like if LeBron quits now, basketball itself starts to die a little bit, because there's no name. Like the main names draw the people, and that spirit is in it. But society, like the same reason why movies are like being like washed up right now. It's the same reason. So like sports is starting to like wash up in some way. The bread and circuses is running out. The irony
of what you're saying is that a lot of these actually real like A-list celebrities who are movie stars, they've complained about the fact that now it's like it's kind of been twisted, because now it's like the movie star is kind of not really a thing anymore.
Yeah, the internet.
Like they used to be. But it's like the industry kind of intentionally did that, because like Captain America is more famous than, I can't even think of his name now. Like probably because he's not a big star like a Tom Cruise from a previous generation. Well, Chris Evans, so like that character is more famous than the guy playing him. So they're kind of turning it into it. And honestly, when sports are actually doing well, you're rooting for the team and not for the individual. But the NBA chose to go with stars. They made it Bird versus Magic, not necessarily the Celtics versus the Lakers. So then Michael Jordan was the Bulls. But then when you got a guy like LeBron James, and then I guess it kind of works if the guy stays on the same team. But when you can associate, because you can associate Jordan the Bulls. So it's fine. But when LeBron goes from Cleveland and he goes to Miami, then goes back to Cleveland, goes to LA, now he's going to go somewhere else. It's like, who cares? I'm just hoping he retires soon because I'm tired of talking about him.
Well, when he retires, the sport is going to be our bread and circus is going, which is what they're trying to find a replacement, I think.
Okay, but I want to go back to the topic of the idea that, like, again, this is not a PG-13 movie. Like, this is real life. I mean, people live and they die, and people are sacrificed. And I think that's, if they don't get sacrificed today, you're talking about this goes against the history we've been told forever. Biblical history. People are sacrificed. And so I think this is interesting. Brian had a very interesting video on the Nick Kaswani podcast. Let's check this out.
See what those say? It says pyramids and ziggurats.
Yeah.
How many words do you know sound like ziggurat?
Only one.
Only one.
Cigarette.
Isn't that fascinating?
Interesting.
Now look at that. Those pyramids and those ziggurats are where they were sacrificing people.
Wow.
That's a human sacrificial portal. Look at all the cigarette companies, bro. Why do you think the old Marlboro logo emphasizes the A? See the pyramid?
Wow.
That's what they are doing. It's kill the human, sacrifice their blood at the top of the ziggurat or the pyramid, drain the blood, offer it to the demon god, eat the flesh on the bottom left, and then the bottom right, gain sacred knowledge.
Wow.
That's what that is. See the roly paper right there? What is that called? Why do you think they call it that? That's the roly paper that you roll cigarettes and weed in. It's called zigzag paper.
Wow.
Zigzag because of the ziggurat. That's where we get the word ziggurat. And then look, skull, and then pyramid. Look, scroll over. It says pyramid. Look, Kingston, pyramid. Salem is Jerusalem, whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Petra is also a place where there was structures. Cool is the ancient derivation for ghoul. Keep going over. Misty are the mystics that ran the pyramids.
Wow.
Corso, again, pyramid. Go down. You can see this one. Black, again, pyramid. Kingston, Parliament, pyramid. They're all pyramids.
Yeah.
Scroll up, scroll up. Look at that. It ain't about the camel, bro. It's about the pyramids in the background.
Wow. Yeah, I see that right here.
Look at the Marlboro logo. The pack even opens up the top of the pack, and you lift off the top of the pyramid, just the to show the uncompleted Tower of Babel.
So then are cigarettes basically like a mass human sacrifice ritual?
Yes, absolutely.
Interesting.
If you're smoking cigarettes, you're a burned offering. Yeah, that one blew up. And there's so much more. That didn't even cut it all. Like, bro, like, dude, do you know pyra comes pyra? It means fire. Pyramid. It means Holocaust. It means a burned offering. That's where we get the word pyramid. The middle of the burned offering. It's the midst of the offering. And that's where pyramid comes from. But people think, oh no, pyramid comes from something else. You know, pyra is pyra. This is pyro, right? So this is where we get the same root. Because they were making burned offerings at the pyramids, and people knew that back then. And so there's an etymological connection to it. But people think the etymological connection is unrelated. And it's like very obvious. That is the Tower of Babel. And that's the unfinished Tower of Babel, the top of the cigarette that's popping off right there.
But what about even the thing that you didn't say, and I know you talked about it when we were on your podcast before. I think it's really interesting the way that the Marlboro logo, the way the font is. I mean, obviously you got these two towers here, and then you got this almost looks like an eye above it too.
Yeah.
Tell me that's not intentional.
Oh, it's all intentional. It's all satanic. And
So
intentional,
wait,
for
so
sure.
you're saying, Brian, because there's a lot of people that believe that, like, at the top of those pyramids that are missing the very top of the pyramids, right? Like, a lot of people think that there was like an energy source up there, or something like metallic, or something that like harnessed energy that shot a beam into air. You're saying that energy was
spiritual.
Human sacrifices.
Yes, it was human. It was spiritual energy. It was human sacrificing. All pyramids, bro. I'm saying that every pyramid you see around the world was the Tower of Babel. Okay, and when the Tower of Babel was built, it was a pyramid, and God didn't finish it. God stopped them. That's why there's an unfinished Tower of Babel on your dollar bill. And then that continued. That behavior continued, or whatever. Like, and people spread around the world, and they kept trying to build their towers of Babel. And part of the Tower of Babel initiation to permeate into the spiritual realm was human sacrifice, or burned offering, or it was occultic. It was Holocaust. You know, it was like to murder and kill, and that's what they were doing. And, Newport, by the way, if you look at the logo,
it's
got
the Saturn ring.
Yeah, it's got the Saturn ring, but also the R and the T are joined together. And if you flip it upside down, it spells Hordman. And Hordman is a word for slave. The slaves that build, they're the slaves that build the pyramids. They're called the Hordmen. Like, I'm not even joking.
I feel like you're
if
reaching, bro, on that one. But that is
I don't know, bro. At a certain point, why would they join the R and the T together,
the
bro?
R and T are the only ones that are connected.
Why would they join that?
There's a deliberate connection there. You know what's funny is that logo in the bottom right hand corner,
or Hoodman
Capital
is what they're called. Sorry,
Capital One has a very similar logo to that.
The Saturn ring thing is all over the place.
Bro, every single one of them, bro. All of their brands, even and people are like, oh, what about the what is it called? The vape pens, bro. Look up Juul. The Juul vape pen logo, JUUL, and it's like if you just look up their logo, dude. Type in logo because you'll see it. Juul logo. It's a little dude on his knees, bro. Those are the two hands. Look at the top left one. That's the right one. That's it. It's that one or the one below that one. Yeah. Okay. So those are two left and right hands on the end, and those are his knees. He's bowing down with his two little hands out to the side. You just don't see his head.
That's
like
crazy.
Cut off. Bro, it's right there. It's like it's all of it. That's what they would do. They would bow before they chopped their heads off when they did their ritual sacrifice.
That's dark.
Bro, it's on all of it. All of the cigarettes that are successful, they all pay homage to human sacrifice. It is all a human sacrifice ritual. All cigarettes. And guess who owns the cigarette companies, guys?
Brian, we know.
We're not going to say it, but Henry Ford said it, and you should look it up. Henry Ford talks about who owns the cigarette companies. Not going to say it, but it was a group of people.
No, I mean, I think, like I said, I think that there's obviously something there. Yeah, there's too much with the pyramids. That's too much to dismiss. If it's one, you can definitely see it. But I mean, like that kind of homage, yeah. And you're right. The camels, it's not about the camel. It's the pyramids behind the camel.
And dude, all the advertisements for those cigarette companies back in the day, they show pyramids in them. Like Parliament, all of them. They all have pyramids in there. And you're like, why are there advertisements with pyramids all over the place?
I don't agree with everything you say, as everyone that watches this podcast knows, but that's a pretty sound argument, honestly.
It's compelling. That's what I said. And so even the connection with Saturn and Saturn, like I already mentioned, like the whole thing about the Saturn return, and it's synonymous with that Saturn was a god of agriculture and the harvest. So, back in the day, like how did they guarantee good crops? By sacrifice.
Well, and the most compelling part of that, of what he showed, was the Marlboro packs, where the top of the pyramid was at the very top of the box. And every time they're opening it to get a cigarette, that capstone is removed.
Yeah, that's like I said.
Symbolizing their hidden knowledge from the sacrifice that they're gaining from the person smoking.
The way that our world is now, where you could even take a good thing and you could make it bad by doing too much of it. So like too much food, too much alcohol, too much smoking, too much fun. But I mean, generally the same kind of people own these companies, and they're not looking out for our best interests. I mean, I think that I often do wonder about like tobacco, and there's a lot of good uses for it. And I'm not going to talk about the health things about nicotine, because I know that YouTube is weird about that, but there's benefits to lots of things that are grown naturally. But like, is smoking the best way to use those things? Maybe not. I also think that why their cigarettes are probably so dangerous now is not necessarily because of tobacco or nicotine. It's because of all the
tar and the crap.
It's all the stuff they put into it, and that's the same kind of thing where they want you to be customers for life. They want this stuff to be addictive because they want your money.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you think about it, if these same people are connected with big healthcare, big pharma, big all this, then they can treat you, and you can be a customer in a different way one day.
True.
They're trying to use you in every which way. And so, yeah, absolutely. I think Brian nailed it on that video. Like I said, you guys know, I don't agree with a lot of things Brian says, but I'm saying like that was, I'll give him the tip of the cap. That one. That was
I agree.
Good. Well, anyways, guys, on that note, I think we're going to close it out here. I appreciate you guys watching. And if you guys want to watch these episodes early and uncensored, please consider supporting this podcast over on Patreon. Also, you can grab a t-shirt. Jesus said there'd be haters, and there's probably going to be lots of haters after this episode drops. So check out the merch store. Also, guys, if you guys want to get healthy and you're worried about your health, please consider checking out the sponsor of this podcast, Modern Roots Life. Get yourself healthy, support a good Christian-owned company and this podcast. Win, win, win. Also, one last thing, if you guys are looking to make videos yourself like such as the banger that Brian just dropped there, please consider checking out the Echoes of Truth Network, where we can help coach you to get the message out that you're not sure how to share. Either way, guys, I appreciate you guys watching, listening, sharing, subscribing, all the things. Love you guys. See you next time.
JT's mixtape, now a show about history, faith, and truth, with the sound and the conversation we've never heard before. JT's mixtape, now there's a podcast that has exactly what we've been looking for all of us who will not compromise. Listen, JT created mixtape for us. Woo!